Hello everyone. So hope you guys know today's video about installing Jenkins on Docker with port mapping and persistent data across containers. So before do that, I just want to talk about another one more thing. So whenever we are installing some applications, like we have one application with 1.1 which will work with our code. When you have upgraded the version to 1.2, that time it may not work. So at those times, how we can validate? Like, so we can, even though if we have the upgraded version, we can download only the version it will work. So how we can do that? So let's, as usual, Docker Hub, let's explore. So let's try to take any one of them from here. Okay, we can even take Python itself also, not an issue. So here you can see this is the Python. So these are the tags. So when I try to install it, Docker pull Python. So when you pull it, it will always pull the whatever the package which latest one was available. So that one it will try to pull. So if we want to try some other version, you can go here and you can visit. These are all are different versions. So how we can download this? So let me try to download something. First, let it finished. So you can see it is finished. Let's check Docker images. So now you can see Python. What is the tag image ID? So it is created. Okay, which means it is released 11 days ago. Size. So I just want to pull only this one. So how can I pull it? So first let's go here. Docker pull Python colon. This is an image. Image itself is a Python. Now I am denoting it as tag. Just remember we are not running. We are just pulling and comparing. So this will help you whenever the developer is told you to install only related versions so that that application will work fine. So let's check Docker images. Now you can see this one also you can see the tag. So this is different version, this is different version. This one you can use it for something else. This one also you can use it. So why I have downloaded is you have integrated something. So that one use the Python latest version and another thing uses Python some other version. So it will work in both the ways. So okay. So our first concept is done. So I just kept it in notepad. Hope you guys seen. So this would be our topics today. So we have completed this how to download the multiple versions. Let's try to install the Jenkins on the Docker. So if you guys are aware, I have posted on older video how to install the Jenkins on Linux machine. So this one is we are installing it on the Docker machine. So let's try to install the Jenkins. So let's go over here. We need the Jenkins. So I'm going for Jenkins. So here you can see lot of things under Jenkins, but we need Jenkins. So here we will go inside here and they have mentioned this is the latest one. So this one we are going to copy it. So instead of when we run Python, but this Jenkins have lot of things under them. So that is why they have given like this. So let's try to pull this one. Let it complete. So now we have completed it. So let me try to run it. Docker run Jenkins colon JDK 11. I'm just running this Jenkins. So now I have initiated it and and one more thing. So if I didn't run it in detached mode, whenever I press Control C, it will stop this container. So at those time what you can do, you can just open another terminal. So whatever, even if it is an Ubuntu machine, you can do the same. So you will just open another terminal and you can check Docker PS. So you can see it is still running, but how you can access it? So that is our main agenda. So as per it, we have installed it. But if we go to port mapping, we have to understand why we need to access it, how we can access it. So we have two different ways. One thing itself is this using this container IP. Another thing is using this Docker host IP. So I have made one image, so it would be little bit. I think hope you guys understood. So let's consider this whole thing is our Docker host. Under this, we are running three different containers, whatever it is. Let's consider container one is this one. So this container one has its own internal IP address. So this internal IP address where it is still valid, it is valid till inside this machine. So which means if I have opened this whole terminal in GUI mode, in the GUI mode, if I have opened Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or whatever it is, if I try to access this container ID IP address, this Jenkins setup box will open. So let's how to get this container ID IP. So let's take this Docker inspect. Let's inspect this container. So here you can see this is the IP address. So you can see, right? So this IP address, how you will try to attain, you can see port 8080, it is working in port 8080. So how you will give that container internal IP colon 8080. If you give it in the Chrome, it will take you to the Jenkins setup page. So since I can't do this, so here I don't have an Chrome install, and which is uh, which is text-based interface. So I'm stopping this. So let's check Docker PS. If you do this, we can see our Docker container has stopped already. So because I have pressed Control C. So let's see another one more thing. Let's another way of accessing it. So this way is anybody can access it outside from this Docker host machine also. Using this Docker host IP, we can access it. So that is what they are telling. So how you will get this Docker host IP? You can get it like host name -i. So you can see three different IPs are there. One is Docker host, another one is network interface. Like those IPs, it is showing. So with this IP colon 8080, it should work. But this is an setup lab. This is one sandbox environment. For accessing purpose, they have given port option. Like if I try to access 8081 view port, you can see this port will access it like this, but in general case we will access it like IP address colon 8080. So hope you guys have the clear point, so don't confuse this with. Let's go back, let's try to run it, but this time we are going to do the port mapping. So how we can do? So let's run this Docker. I'm going to run it. So prior to that, let me take that images. I want this images name, right? So I'm taking it. So Docker, I'm going to run this. Anyways, I will show you that command. If you run it in detached mode, how to get the password also. So let me show you. So let me do the port mapping. So I'm going to define port. Which port I want. So first of all, whenever you are giving first port will be localhost. So here I opened port 8081. I try to map this one. So port 8081. So 8081 colon. So we already noticed this this Jenkins is running on port 8080, this container. So we are giving port 8080. So this is fine. Then we have to give the image name colon tag. So I'm going to run this now. So if I check Docker PS, the container is running. So let's verify this. Now you can see our port is started working. So this is running under port 8081. So now we need this administration password. So where you can get it? So you can see previously without detached mode, when we run this one, here you can see this administration password has given directly. But now we did in detached mode. How we can get it? So for that we have one another command so that you can go inside the container and you can find it. So for that Docker execute. So this command is telling like you have to execute this command inside this container ID. So let me give cat space. Here you can see where that password was there. Paste. Next we have to give this container ID or container name. Whatever you like it, you can give it. So let me try to give. Let me see if I made a mistake. So I think we should give the container ID prior to the command. So, so when you work on it, then only you will have some clear understanding. So this container ID, our active container, I have given enter. Now you can get the password. So copy it. We are going to give it. So now we have installed some plugins. So I will speed it up. So now plugins are already installed. So I'm just giving some username Shiva, password Shiva, confirm password Shiva, full name Shiva, Shiva at dockerclass at gmail.com. We can give something, I believe. So save and continue. So let it be the same URL. Save and finish. You can modify it if you want also. Start using Jenkins. So now our Jenkins setup is ready. So let's try to create one job. New item, freestyle project. I'm giving this as test job. Freestyle project. Okay. So nothing. I don't want to. So this class is for Docker. So I just want to show you guys how to make the data persistent. We just created some simple job. So if you go to dashboard, I can see one job has created. So let's go back. So now we have configured the port mapping. So okay, we have created the container. If I stop this container, what will happen? Let's try this. Docker stop paste. It has stopped the container. Let me try to refresh. Oh, whatever I have configured, all it's gone. So why it's gone? If I start it again, I can get the same data. So let's think in this point of view. What if that container got crashed or it got failed or else someone from your team has deleted? So at this case, you don't want to store the data inside the container. So you have to map this thing to your local machine so that you can save your data. So that is what we have to learn. So okay, let's try to run the command once again. So I'm going to just give the history. I can show it in the official website. So you can see here itself they have the documentation. So I always prefer to read the documentation so you can learn multiple things there. So here you can see this hyphen v will be refers to volume. So we can make the data persistent. So let me try. Here well, I will explain you. These are the both the ports. So this 8080 will whatever our Jenkins setup it will run there. But this 50,000 it will show like whatever the Jenkins version something like that. This restart on failure if container crashes like something happens if it is failed it will restart once again. Hyphen v which volume we are going to map. This Jenkins underscore home this is the local directory which is present in our local host. So this is where the path this Jenkins thing will usually store its data. Then finally our image. So I can modify this thing a little bit. So let me try to modify. Paste it. So I'm going to delete whatever I no need. So because I don't want to confuse guys. This is enough. It would be more than enough for our session. So prior to that, we don't have the Jenkins directory. First, we have to create the directory. So let me take sudo space su space hyphen make directory called Jenkins. I'm going to create the directory called Jenkins. If I list it, I can see my Jenkins. So let me go and copy. So here you can see Jenkins underscores home. That is their home directory. For us, it would be just Jenkins. That is what we created. So again, I no need this restart and failure. So these and all things you should include when you are working for enterprise level. So for this test setup, these and all not much required, but practicing it always good. So for understanding purpose, we are doing. Okay, then we have mapped it to Docker Jenkins. Okay, and we have given the image also. Okay, so just remember this is our local host directory uh, till this much which is our Docker. Inside that this is the path it will store the files. This is our whole image. This is whatever the port. So you can see I made a mistake. Before to run it, I'm trying to map this to 82. I have already mapped 81. Even I can do because this container is already dead. But it's okay. Let's try to map it to another container. So it is not an issue. So I'm going to run this one. Let me try what will happen. So it is running. So which port we configured 8082. So how you will map it? You guys should map it like this Docker host IP address. Okay, 82. Docker host IP address colon 8082. I have opened the 81 again. Sorry. So okay, so you can see now we again go back to the same square. Just now only we configured all these things, but it is telling us to do the same thing again. So why we have to do this thing multiple times? That is why we have configured the data across persistent on all the containers. So let's speed this up. So again we will fill the same thing. I'm just giving Siva. So let it be on the same 8082. So we have configured already the previous ports. That is why we are configured in another ports. I think we can delete this container and we can configure it on same port. So let's try to create one project. So this time my first Jenkins job. I don't want to give the test job or else you guys will confuse what happened. Click on OK, save it. So since we saved it, you can see the dashboard, my first Jenkins job. So you can see it is still running. So I will check Docker PS. So these are the things what is happening like inside that also, like whatever we do, these things in container, it will get updated. So terminal 2, so I can see mine is running. What if I try to stop this thing? Previously, we have already tried to stop it, but we have configured this all the things again. So now we don't want to do that. So let me try to refresh this. You can see this one also went. So let me try to, okay, seems like this terminal session and that terminal session, it is not taking the same thing. Okay, not an issue. So I'm going to run this command. But you guys know whenever I run this command, it will create new container. Whenever new container is getting created, it is asking us to install everything again. So let's do this. Let's see what is happening now. Okay, port 8083 I am running this time. View port 8083. View the port. So you can see previously what happened. It has asked the whole thing to set up again. But this time it is asking the username. So which username? Shiva. Whatever I have previously configured, Shiva. It has connected to the previous Jenkins. You can see I have recovered my job. So I didn't lost any data by destroying my containers. Even someone is destroying intentionally, you can save this data. So this is what port this is what make the data persistent across containers. So this troubleshooting the issues you guys aware. So whatever we did now you might know. So one more thing I just want to tell you. So when I was running this command previously, I have received some error. So for that error, something like hyphen u root. So it is like when you are running it like this command is perfectly fine. Sometimes I got it, but not most of the time. So this is done. So and for some understanding, I have created my Docker tutorials page. So in the GitHub, this is my first repository. Whatever I have created previously, I have deleted all of them, all for just a testing purpose only. Here you can download this step. You can see you can download it. So this is the document. So let me open this. So yesterday itself I have manually modified multiple steps. So for your understanding, you have all these things. So each document it would be clear. So in the document or anywhere in my video, if I made any mistakes, you can point out to me. Feel free to reach out to me. It is not an issue. I will change it. So we'll see you in next video with some other tutorials.